class, so we are discussing about the HANA replication part, HANA replication setup and part here. I think our guys are done the good work. So they have done the setup. So they have done the setup and everything. But so in the class also I will explain it. So right. So here we have the primary and we have the secondary system is available here, primary and secondary here. So our primary is like SAP, so Linux 1, right? So our secondary system is SAP HANA, right? So here what we are doing here, so what we are doing here, why? Because application will connect only one database at a time, not the two databases. But if the database is crashed, then we have the one more database we can bring up, or automatic failover will happen. Those things will happen, right? In that case, what we have to do? In that case, what we have to do here? So there is a in SAP HANA, there is a replication concept here. So if you configure the replication here, replication means so then whatever the data is there here, all the data we can replicate to the all the data we can replicate to the through pipe. We are just moving to the other databases. That's it. Whatever the transactions happens here, everything we are moving to the here. Why? Because safer side. In case of this is crash, we have the data already there here. Then we can open it, then we can use it here, syncing the data here. So that's why we can, it's kind of high availability techniques. There are the mission critical applications in the business, right? In the banking sector businesses, some mission critical applications, the banking applications, all banking applications are the critical applications. In case of due to database issue, then your bank server is down, 1 hour is down, fine, 2 hours is down. If your entire day is down, definitely there is a business impact, right? All the transactions will be stopped. You cannot do any phone pay, Google Pay, GPay, so whatever it may be, right? So whatever the transactions, account transfer, banking transactions, everything will be stopped. So for that reason, if you have the high availability systems are there, so then in case of this is down, then this will be up and you can carry out the transactions in this databases here. Why? Because same data is replicated to here. Whatever the data is there here the same data is available here also. So there is no issues here, right? That is the data. So replication concept here. Why means high. This is the way. Right? So to configure this one, yesterday we have drafted the some of the steps, right? So in the primary, and then one site we will call it as the first site and secondary site, primary and secondary, right? So then in this out of two boxes, one site we have to call it as the primary. Then first of all check the, so what is the database status currently in the here, right? HDB space info. So here the database is up and running here. Here in the database is up and running here. Then so log into the secondary also here, SAP HANA, right? SAP analysis is our secondary here. Go to the root user, then so log in, then check the so HD1 ADM here. So right, so here you can see HDB space info. Here also the database is up and running here. So here the port number is same, the port is same here. Then here also the port is same here. So this will work this time. Right, yesterday we faced it. Why? Because it's a different here. Here it is 40 is there. That is a different. So then it's not connected. Right. So now it will work. Now so both are there. Then we exchanged the keys also yesterday. Then when you are configuring the replication, we got the error. Right. So now let's log into the system now. Right. I'm opening the HANA Studio. So why? Because multiple ways we can do the configuring the replication here. Either the HANA Studio, HANA Cockpit, or OS level commands. We can use it. Operating system level commands. We can use it. So once HANA started, So here, let me log into the tenant database. This is the what? 00. Okay. Then I can log into the tenant database. So both primary and secondary, I am logging now. Why? Because through systemdb only, we have to do the configuration here. So I'm going to the here as well, opening the systems. But here you see it is not accessible. Why? Because I think here the replication is configured. So let me check here the replication status here. You can see all surveys are in sync and the replication is configured. So which means replication already configured by our guys here, system replication option in the landscape tab. Sync mem active, the replication is active. So let me disable the replication here. So just right click and go to the configuration monitoring, configure the system replication. So then here you will get the disable the replication. We need to break the replication here. Maybe it's already configured, but I want to show you as a practical, as we discussed in the yesterday's class. Yesterday theoretically we discussed. So I'm disabling the replication here. Disabling the replication means say breaking the replication here. Break the replication here. Okay. I will go to the ignore the secondary. Move it. Then this will be disabled, disappeared now. You can see disappeared now. So then this is also disappeared. Now you can see this is also will be disappeared. So disabled the replication here now. So done. So it's not there now. So both will be available now. Both will be available up and running. So it's fine now. Right? Up and running, it is fine. So this is the secondary HDB ADM, HDB info. Then you will see the status here. Then HDB stop. Just stopping the secondary database for safer side. Why? Because we need to stop. Now, what we have to do it here, what we have to do it the configuration side. The first, as part of this configuration, replication configuration, we need to so enable the primary. We need to enable the so replication on primary, right? So then going to the primary site here. So primary, this is the primary SAP Linux one. Maybe if you want to more clarity, then I'm going to the properties here. So here, additional properties. Here there is a description. We can write it here. Additional properties for the DBC connection. Okay, that's not a problem. So here you can see HD1 is there. So it is on the SAP Linux 1. We need to enable the primary. While enabling the primary, so we should like here we need to go to the configuration and monitoring, configure the system replication here. So here what you have to do here, we need to just invalid credentials. No, this one. Configure the system replication here. Okay. Yeah. enable the system replication on the primary site. Okay, next, a site name, site A, just A, B, something like that. So just click on the OK button. You are enabling the replication on the secondary here, right? Secondary here. It will enable the replication. Then log into the secondary. Then just go to the register the secondary here. Here you have to register the secondary on the primary. Primary you have enabled, right? Primary you have enabled here. Then after that, we need to copy the keys to the secondary. Then here, that is the one. So copies the second step, copy the SSFS keys from primary to secondary. Then stop the secondary system, or restart the secondary. So okay, restart the secondary. Before that, so stop the secondary. Yeah, secondary. Okay, then so register the secondary on primary, secondary on. So primary we have to register it here. While registering, we have to provide the replication modes and operation modes here. So register the secondary, then click on the OK button. Here, this page is very important here, right? Site B here. So what is the, here we need to discuss about the replication modes and operation modes here. The replication modes and operation modes here. So replication modes and operation modes here. What is this here? Replication modes and operation modes here. So here you see replication modes and operation modes. Here there are the three types of replication modes and two types of operation modes are available. Delta data shipping and log replay here. Delta data shipping and log replay here, right? So what is mean by delta data shipping? Okay, let's start discussing about the operation modes here, right? Operation modes here. Operation modes. Here, there are the two types here. Delta, so data shipping here. Then second one is the log replay. This is the common one. Everybody will use the log replay mechanism here. So log replay. So what is mean by delta data shipping here? So delta data shipping means if you enable this functionality, here, so what will happen? Every 10 minutes, so so whatever the data is there, whatever the logs, right? So whatever the data is there here, right? So here transactions will happen. There is a log segment will be generated. So that logs, so instead of continuously moving to the in the secondary side, if you choose the delta data shipping here, so occasionally means per default every 10 minutes a delta data shipping taking place. Addition to the continuous to log shipping every 10 minutes, the delta means every 10 minutes after 10 minutes, then next 10 minutes, the data instead of the continuation to the continuous log replication. So here the logs will be replicated continuously. The logs will be replicated primary to secondary. In addition to this, then every 10 minutes once, the delta will be delta data shipping taking place. So here the secondary system receives the log. So the secondary system will receive the log. This is the primary. The secondary will receive the log, but immediately it does not replay the immediately it won't replay, means it won't be execute here. The logs will be stay here like this only here. But whenever takeover, whenever if you take the takeover, means something is happened the primary, you need to switch back to the secondary, means then we have to do the takeover the primary here. That time it may take very longer time to replay the all the log. That time all the logs will be replayed. Then then database will be available for the users. Till then, your database will not be available here. So why? Because whenever you use the delta data shipping, logs will not be replayed until it has to take over, right? To shorten the log replay mechanism, so we need to use the log replay. There is a one more method here to avoid this takeover timelines. We can use the log replay mechanism here. Why? Because time to time, the data primary to secondary, the data will be moved to the secondary. So then it will be moved. So if you use the log replay mechanism, what will happen? So the log shipping will be done immediately, continuously. It will be replayed, re-executed on the secondary system. If you want to take over, immediately the operation will be take over immediately. You can just say immediately the primary fails, secondary will be available immediately. If you use the delta data shipping, immediately it is not available. Why? Because if the hundreds of logs are there, then hundreds of logs will be replayed. Means each log may take, suppose take example, each log will, if you take 1 minute, then 100 logs, 100 minutes. Then the primary fails, then 100 minutes you need to wait to be secondary should be available. Then there is a more than 1.5 hour, 1 hour delay. Right? So that is the log replay mechanism here. So that is the difference between the delta data shipping and log replay mechanism here. Log replay mechanism here. Right? This is the immediately the logs will not be replayed, but immediately the logs will not be replayed here. So but here, so but continuous replication will happen in the log replay, continuous replication, then it's into in the immediately replayed. But here continuous replication, every 10 minutes data will be played, but here but logs will not be executed, logs will not be replayed here, the logs will not be replayed here. That is the one of the difference here, right? So that is the operation modes here. That is the operation modes here. So then what about the replication modes here? What about the HANA replication modes here? HANA replication modes here. So replication modes are replicating the data here, replicating the data here. Here we have the 3 types of replication modes. You can see here, synchronous in mem, asynchronous here, right? So 3 types of replication modes here, So one is the sync. Second one is the sync mem. Then the third one is the async, right? Sync mem, asynchronous here. So what is the sync mem? First of all, sync mem, then synchronous, then async here. So sync, the first one is the sync, means what will happen here? Sync, asynchronous, there is a difference here. Sync means, so first of all, the one transaction is happened here. Okay, let me take the example here. There is a one transaction is happened. So then same transaction, to consistency purpose, same transaction will go to the secondary, then secondary will receive it, then secondary will send the response to the primary saying that, "I boss, I have received your transaction. Please go ahead and execute the one more transaction." Then it will execute the one more transaction. Then it will go to the transaction to the secondary. Then it will send the acknowledgement. Then we will get the one more transaction. Then there is a series wise, sequence wise, the acknowledgement is required from the secondary. Then only the primary will commit the transaction here, sync. Then asynchronous mechanism. In the sync also we have the two types, synchronous and sync mem. Okay, that difference I will explain it. So here async means here, so the primary does not wait for the acknowledgement from the secondary. It does not bother about my secondary is down or where it went. So it does not bother about the secondary system, whether that log is received or not. That is called the asynchronous mechanism. In the sync, we need the acknowledgement. Async, it does not wait for the acknowledgement from the secondary. So here there is no consistency. If the secondary down also, primary don't bother. But in the sync mechanism, if the secondary is down, the primary will not commit any transaction. We may face some performance issues. Why? Because it is not sending the response acknowledgement. Then we don't know, right? But here it's like a postcard. It's like a postcard here, right? So here in the sync also we have the two types, right? Sync and sync mem. What is sync here? Sync means the primary system waits committing the transaction. Definitely, right? The primary will send the data to secondary, right? Primary will send the data to secondary here until log is persisted on the secondary. Why? Because the data will go to the two places here, right? Data will go to the two places here. One is the main memory and disk level. Main memory and disk level here. Main memory and disk level here. This is called the disk. This is called the memory, right? Then this is the disk, directly disk here, right? So primary, whenever the primary will send the transactions to the secondary, the secondary log is persisted in the secondary system here, which means so the transactions are directly going to the disk format here, disk layer here, disk layer here. The data transmission happening onto the disk layer. It will wait until it will go to the disk, then it will commit the transaction. Then one more transaction, it will go to the disk, then disk, like this here, right? It will wait. This option will guarantee of the consistency between the both systems, the cost of replaying the transactions and persisting in the transaction here. Why? Because when the transaction is moved to the main memory, then if suddenly the system is down, then if the transaction is not moved to the disk. Why? Because next 5 minutes the data will be moved to the here. The next 5 minutes the data will be moved to the disk here. So there is no guarantee whether it's received to the disk or not here. So sync mem means it will only go to the main memory. The transaction will go to only main memory. That's it. That responsibility is done. Then one more transaction will go to the main memory. So then sync data means here sync means it will go to the disk format, persist to the disk format. Then it will wait until it will go to the disk format. Then it will send the next transaction. It will send the next screenshot here, right? So that is the one thing here. Just 1 minute, someone is pinging. Okay, done. Okay, so that is the difference between these three here, right? Sync, the transaction will go to the disk, then it is the guarantee. Why? Because disk level it is storing, then that is the guarantee here. So but when the transaction is going to the log received by the in the main memory, so here sync mem means the transaction will go to the main memory, then it's leave it here, then it will go back to the send the acknowledgement, then it will go to the here, it will send it here. Here it does not guarantee your main memory to disk layer if the data is going or not here. But if you choose the synchronous, it is a guarantee, then data is moving to the here disk level, up to disk level data is going, then we have the consistency here. But there is a disadvantage here, right? Disk IO speed on the secondary. So because the disk format is IO speed is very less, then it may take to get the response from the secondary to primary here, right? So when the connection to secondary is lost, the primary will continuous transaction processing, write the logs to the secondary here. Continuously it will log the transaction, right? So you don't need that much of data, just you can remember the high level means. So whenever any replication happens, the primary will send the data to the secondary. So from secondary where to where? Means if it is sending to the main memory, means if you select the till synchronous in memory, it will only responsible to send the only main memory only. Then after 5 minutes, then there is a this will happen here. Then if you choose the synchronous, what will happen? Until disk layer, until the data reaches to the disk layer, the data move to the until data reaches to the disk layer, the data move to the data will move to the data will move to the your disk format. And if you choose the asynchronous, then it does not bother primary sending data to or not. That's it's don't need. Why? Because that's why in the DR scenario, if the more than 100 miles, the data different data center, to avoid the performance issues, we will choose the asynchronous mode. Async mode, we will choose it here. Then if it is the near to below 100 miles, we will choose the synchronous sync here. Sync we will choose it, and asynchronous we will choose it here. So here you can choose it whatever the mode you want. So depends the main memory, the log replay mechanism, what is the source system information here. Source system information means, let me get here SAP, so Linux 1. So this is the our source system information here. So then your fully domain name you have to give it, initiate the data shipping, then so next button here, then it is registering the system into the so primary here, done, right? So then you can go to the primary here. So then you can go to the primary, go to the landscape, then you see here the replication here, the replication will be, so will show here, the replication will show here. It will come to the in this place here. Just refresh the screen. That it will start it. It will start the secondary here. It should start the secondary. Automatically it will start it, but it will not wait for the, maybe we can also start it manually. It will not wait for the, so it will not wait. So immediately the replication will start here. Let's see here. The starting mode, it's yellow. Maybe the timeout is occurred, I guess. That's why it's not registered. Let's see. Log into the secondary. Go to configuration monitoring, configure the system replication. Because screen we opened and after a few minutes we are discussing here, right? So that may be the reason.
Sir, once the replication start, you cannot log into the secondary, no, sir.
Where we cannot log in secondary.
Yes.
Secondary logical system, site B. So then primary, then okay. Yeah, now you can see. So here you can see here the replication concept will come here. So but status is unknown here. Why? Because the secondary host is the one, primary host is the one, replication mode is the sync mem, replication status is unknown. Why? Because it will start the secondary here. It will start the secondary here. So then it will come to the secondary will become active here. So it is starting. It is starting here. So we should wait for some time. Then replication is will configure. Means it automatically it will come to the active status here. Yeah, see, full replica is happening. Full replication is happening. So name server, index server, access engine. These three services are the replicate data will be replicated. Why? Because these are three are the main. So data is replicating from primary to secondary. The full replication is happening here. The first name server system DB. Then so tenant and everything will be replicated here. Tenant and everything will be replicated here. See here, it is replicating the data here. Then sync map. Then so like this, the data will be replicated. You can see the logs here, site A, site B. Then so here, so data, what are the logs, last log position here? This is the last log position. And 3,377,408,777. Then till 40,000 logs are left to
Sir, is this activities is we have to perform daily or?
not the daily one-time activity. One time if you configure the production systems, then automatically so this will be replicated. The data will be replicated here. You don't need to do it.
So here as I can see, three things have like unknown, and initialization. Okay. So
First
why?
name server will replicating the data. First it should replicate the main data. First time we configured now. So whatever the data is there in the primary, it should move, all the data should move to the secondary. Then name server will become a active status now, right? Then once done, then remaining index server access engine, both will come into the place. So now you see, so both are replicating. Either 1%, it's 40% completed. First, so this is also completed. Now index server is the main large data. So that will come to the active status after few minutes. Replicating is happening. You see, replica, full replica is happening now. Only 960 GB, 960 GB, 960 MB is out of 2 GB, 960 MB is happening. So now let's see, 43% completed. Means entire data, once the data is completed, replicated is, then all will come to active status. Then from that onwards, actively data will be replicated to the, so your secondary site here. So what is the last log position here? So 960, right? Then here, so 746 only, last save point log position here. So then slowly the all logs will be the shipped log position here 960, means it's a 640 960, 640 960. Just refresh here, then it's 80% completed. So then here we can see at how many logs are shipped from, so primary to, so last log position 648,448, 648, but here 639 only. So 639 only. Here you will get it, all those things you will get from here. So just done. That is also done here. So fastly it will replicate the data. Then it will also become a active status here. Yes, now 3 are active. So now the replication is happening from primary to secondary. The replication is happening. So now whatever you do in the primary, right? Whatever you do, suppose if you create the user, if you delete, if you create the table, all will be replicated to the secondary fastly, immediately here. Suppose here, what I'm doing here, I'm going to create the one user here, Ravi user here. Only primary in the SAP Linux one I'm creating here, right? So here, right? Ravi user, one user I created. So it's only primary I'm created here. So immediately I created, right? Immediately it will send the, it will replicate the same user to the secondary also. Same user immediately, fraction of second, the data will be replicated to the secondary also in memory here. So right. So then what I will do here, now I cannot access the secondary here. Now I cannot access the secondary. Why? Because secondary why? Because it's inactive status. We cannot access. Why? Because it's the secondary. So what you have to do, you need to do the takeover. So you need to do the takeover here. Manual takeover, we have to perform it here. So Ravi user is created in the SAP Linux 1 only, but it will be replicated to the here as well. So how? Means you can see here, I'm trying to do that takeover here. Let me show you here. Takeover means, so the primary will become, the secondary will become master here, means primary. Then whatever the data you created here, automatically it will be replicated. It won't show to us which data is replicated, everything here, but we can observe it in the secondary. If we go to the CD trace here, so then here we can check the status here. Maybe if we go to the index server here, then the data is replicated or not. If we go to the index server trace, right, the global constant status reached to master log file. So then data first, always flush the data to secondary, then redo log. So you will get the data merging happening, compression. So then you will get the one scenario like data is replicated. See here, processing the two of the indexes, processing the data, remaining, everything you will get from the primary here. Everything you will get from the primary here. Now what I am doing now, I am going to do the takeover, perform the takeover, which means your system will take it from the primary master source system here, takeover from HANA system. So takeover, performing the takeover. Takeover means what will happen? So your secondary will become a primary now. Secondary will become active now. Performing the takeover means, so suppose some issues in the primary, we want to take over the responsibility. Now primary is down. So what we have to do now? Now takeover. If we perform the takeover, so now this will become active now. This will become active. So now we can observe the data here. Let's see here. Log replay, right? So immediately it will be takeover. So if you choose the delta data shipping, it may take very longer time. But log replay, right? Immediately it will be replayed. You can see performing the takeover. So takeover. So users, right? So here users performing the takeover. We can observe it here. You see the logs. Logs will give the clear picture here. See here, all the tables reloading, storing the freeloading columns failed. So everything we can observe it in the. That's why the log troubleshooting is very important here. Checking the logs and everything here. Because here it will give the clear picture here, all the information and everything. So trace log at operating system is the very important here. Here take on how much time it is taking. Because immediately we have taken over. The should be reached to the here and all those things will happen, right? So that's the reason. So it's a takeover. So then HDB space info. Yeah, so it's taking over. Performing takeover. OS level commands also we can use it to configure the replications. DBA cockpit also we can use it to perform these configurations and everything here.
Ravi, when the secondary system is on and the users are putting in data and you're accessing it, and once the primary is back, is there like any replication from secondary to primary happening?
Yeah, yes. We can configure that way also here. So there is a reverse replication procedure here. So as soon as there are some cluster tools here, cluster tools, Linux level, there is a Coro Sync and Face Maker. These two are the cluster libraries here. This we will call it as the cluster tools here. So if you configure these cluster tools at Linux level, so what will happen? So whenever any something is happens in the primary, automatically, now we did the manual failover, right? Automatically, it will switch the services to the primary, secondary, then the reverse replication also will be configured. The reverse replication also will be set. So which means now it's a primary to secondary. When something is happens, the services will move to the here. Then secondary will become a primary now. Then again, so it will the replication will be configured from here to here. The replication will be configured. Yes, it's possible. So here we have to do it from the Coro Sync and FaceMaker. Maybe that the tools, I think it's not the voice level. That is the maybe some license or something we need to download and we have to install it. It's possible. Not only this one, we have the third-party tools also available to perform this failovers and everything. We can use some.
Yes, sir. That require license. That require license.
Yeah, that's required.
But this auto switching will be done, sir. That will be automatic. But
Yeah.
cluster that we need to change manually.
Cluster manually means?
No. Replication status direction we need to change manually, sir.
No, not required, right? Not
No, sir.
required. No. In our case, in our organization, what will is happening? So whenever any failure happens, it's automatically it's a reverse replication is happening, secondary to primary.
But in case of DR,
Yeah, DR scenario, it's not that time. That's why we use the async. We use the async mode. For DR scenario, we'll use the async mode.
yes, sir.
But some
Recently,
cases and some customers manual configuration is required. Some customers manual means this procedure we can configure it. Means automatically reverse replication also will enable it. Maybe that we can do that one, or we can also manually perform it. It's a two commands we can execute it that will reverse replication will be configured. Fresh replication. Oh my God, how much time it is taking. We don't have any terabytes of data. Still, it is doing something, performing the takeover. It's not come. Let me log in with my user. Why? Because I have not created my user. I created here. Whether I can get the screen. So it won't allow users to log in. It won't take this much of time here, but something is happened here. Oh, host got hung. Maybe someone doing something. That's why host got hung status here. Yeah. Some memory problems at that time that I think. So that's the reason. See here, this taking command is taking some time, which means some memory issues here. It cannot be reached. So cannot be reached here. Takeover is not happening here, first of all. Takeover is not happening here. So that's why you can see it's a everything is down. 0031. Everything is using here. So maybe some other databases our guys are installed or something is happening here. The command also taking the time. So why? Because you can see here takeover command is executed, takeover. So which means so secondary will become primary. HD1, HDP, J02. Oh my God. Someone is installing the HANA cockpit. Oh, what is this? H4C area.
Operation mode, so it's a three are log replay, read access, and delta data shipping.
Yeah, 3 modes are there, but in the studio it will show only read-only access is the additional one. But here we can see only 2 actually when you are doing this one. 2 only we can see it. Oh my God, it's taking time. Okay, same way you can replicate it, you can try it, you can try to disable it and try to reconfigure it and perform the takeover, so it will be helpful. Okay, so nothing, just you can after the I will reboot. Okay, after the reboot I will reboot the OS here, so that you can just start freshly, disable the replication. Okay, so you can just disable the replication, so then you can reconfigure the replication, then do the work on the primary. So then do the work on the primary. So then do the some data changes, creation of the user, some tables, then take over it, then check in the secondary whether it is replicated or not. You will get the clear picture. But definitely it will be replicated. But you can see my user also after some time. Okay. You can just do that practice. So okay, that is the one.